Okay, so we should be live. I am going to check on my phone. So welcome to Love Speaks Love. Just going to close that.
Thank you very much.
And my guest today is the wonderful Leanne. And Leanne has changed her name to Leanne Taiki Anawa. All right, so just bear with me while I just check that we are live and do a little bit of sharing to the Love Speaks Love page, and yes, we are live. Hi everyone. So I'm going to share it to Love Speaks Love first. And the light's still doing funny things. There we go.
Oh, there you are.
I might have to close the curtains in the end. Okay, what am I doing? I'm sharing. If anybody feels to share at any point, that would be awesome. So I'll share it there, there.
I could ask Mikhail to share, couldn't I?
That would be amazing, thank you.
Mikhail, can you share Denise's live?
Please.
Sorry?
Can you share Denise's live?
Yeah. So where is it?
Her timeline.
Okay. Yeah, we will.
Wonderful. Okay, so I am just going to start us off and bring us into our heart space.
Okay.
So bringing our awareness to our hearts, in the center of our chest, our heart space, breathing in love, breathing out love, breathing that love into every cell of our bodies. Connecting our hearts to the heart of Gaia and feeling our energies fully anchoring into the New Earth templates, to the crystalline diamond heart of Gaia. Connecting our hearts to the heart of the sun, to the heart of the great central sun. And breathing deeply again. And bringing our focus back to our hearts. Opening your eyes if they're closed, if you wish to. Oof. So Leanne, it's a real honor and a pleasure to be with you today. We connected a little bit in Glastonbury, and it just feels really awesome to be connecting more deeply with you today. And I can already feel, we just spoke for a few minutes before we came on.
Whoops, Daisy, my orchid just fell over.
Oh no! Orchids.
Oh, I thought that might happen. There we go.
Oh, that's beautiful. We connected a little bit before the show started, so it feels really beautiful to have you here today and to chat with you. And there's a number of things that that I'd love for you to share about. Which do you want to do first? Your awakening? The 19, tell me about what happened in the summer. This is when I finished my nursing training, actually. the summer of 1987, which was the harmonic convergence. And while you're doing that, I might just sort the light out. I might draw the curtains. I think it will be more easeful with that.
Okay.
So yeah, don't mind me
Yeah.
if I'm just doing that.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So I found out afterwards that in the summer of 1987 there was a thing called the harmonic convergence, where many light workers got together and invoked the light here on Earth, and it coincided with a spiritual awakening that I had when I was 17, and it was really powerful, and it was a Kundalini awakening. And at first, there was the expansion and the bliss and the insights that came through. There was also kind of an opening of my whole energy field really to the light, and lots of things kind of came forward, things that I'd buried from my childhood, emotions and what have you, that all kind of came up in a kind of tsunami. And also past life memories as well, which were very confusing to me, even though I had got the great blessing of having a very spiritually minded, progressive family, or dad particularly, who had kind of lent me Lobsang Rampa books when I was a child and things like that. So I, although I knew about them, I hadn't experienced them obviously before then, and I was shown a very traumatic one, and I really kind of, my being went into quite a lot of shock really with what I was being shown, and it started a journey, which, although kind of painful at times, obviously processing so much stuff, and calling me so far inwards into myself, it has led me on an amazing path, which I'm very grateful for. And I feel it's very relevant as well, that experience that I went through, so that I would be able to support people now as the light on the planet just intensifies and gets brighter and more activating for people's own energy fields. And that pathway back then kind of led me on a self-healing path, which took me into working in social and healthcare, and training eventually as a clinical psychologist after doing an open university psychology degree and working in the NHS as an assistant psychologist. And yeah, that training was amazing, and kind of enabled me to help people who were experiencing that connection with trauma that they'd been through in their lives. And I felt, although I was aware of like the energy side of things still, for a while my focus went to sort of the psychology side of things and social side of things, and a kind of a deep understanding of the nature of what it is to be human, really. And yeah, so that's kind of started all quite a long time ago, like 33 years ago. Yeah.
So when that happened for you and everything got switched on and you Kundalini, and you must have just been inputting a lot of information at that time as well, like, as you say, people's emotions, the empathy, past life stuff. Did you feel like you were going crazy at that time? And I yeah, because so many people do.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that? Like how were you processing that?
I went to see a spiritual healer who really helped me to understand what was happening to me from a spiritual perspective.
Amazing.
Gave me like the narratives that were empowering, which kind of was a great alternative, you know, to the whole medical model.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, really, you know, apart from that of course, then there was the energy help, because I think my aura, you know, had been kind of blown quite open, and you know, I needed help to work with my energy field, so I was learning from her.
Were you picking a lot up, like this thought just came to mind, that if your aura was so open, that a lot of things could get in, a lot of, you know, fourth density, astral layer energies, entities could get in at that time? Do you feel that happened?
Yeah, I think it was all of the traumas in all of my lifetimes really were, all of those portals to those lower frequencies were being shown to me for me to be able to go in and heal those timelines. And you know, and to start to connect to my true self, because for a long time, I, you know, as a teenager and a child, kind of growing up through my life, I'd, you know, definitely developed a kind of a false self, you know, that wasn't in alignment with my higher self and my soul. So after that experience, my true self and my true frequencies started to come through, and you know, and I started to tune into my heart and tune into my needs and my feelings, and basically do lots of self-healing. And it was quite challenging back in those days, because there wasn't a lot of people that I knew that were doing that kind of thing, and you know, it called on a lot of sort of inner strength, I guess, to not buy in totally to these like negative medical narratives and things like that. And what, you know, what I had therapy, and it was really helpful, and I was able to kind of, you know, appreciate the presence and the connection. And I've always kind of said it stripped me back, that experience, to yeah, the kind of bare bones of me, if you know what I mean. And you know, what was really important, and I think it really opened my heart. You know, I remember feeling such a great deal of love, you know, for people. And I remember before that experience, I'd never really got on very well with my little sister, and afterwards I just felt so much overwhelming love for her and wanting to protect her, and you know, and we've been close ever since. So yeah, there was a lot going on. And you know, my family were great and supportive, and my life changed kind of quite a lot, because I'd been quite, you know, the one for just socializing, and quite, you know, hadn't been terribly deep or anything. and I kind of became a lot more grounded really as well, even though that experience sometimes, and that whole aura thing, you know, made me feel quite ungrounded a lot of the time. In a way, it was laying the foundations for me to ground that light in my being.
Yeah, I think you raise a really good point there about the ungrounding. And I'm thinking back to some of the times when I worked at the Arts Factory backpackers in Australia. It wasn't uncommon, you know, a lot of people were pretty young. They were in their 20s and traveling, and quite a few of them were kind of running away from their shadow a little bit and trying to leave things behind that actually they needed to face and deal with. And the energy of Byron, which is on black obsidian and rose quartz as well, but the black obsidian from like volcanic rock is very reflective. So a lot of things will be reflective back.
Yeah.
And even though that is quite a grounding stone, a lot of people that kind of, I don't know if they had looking back, I can see that they may well have had Kundalini awakenings, but they were really not grounded as well. And that is such a key part of the Kundalini awakening as well, that people really do need to be so fully anchored into the ground, because it's a two-way thing. You've got the serpent energy coming back, but you've got huge amounts of energy coming in, and if it's not fully grounded, it's kind of going back up again. And you know, it's kind of doing this and not really
anchoring
into into the earth. And you're a very visual person, and normally when people are artistic, their visual sense is very, very tuned. So for you, was it all of your senses, like your clairaudience, your clairvoyance? Did everything kind of switch on at once, or was it more some than others?
For me at that time, I was more in the experience of trying not to get caught up in my thoughts and trying to be in my body, and that took a long time. Because I think I went into my head to try and understand what was happening to me. And as for the spiritual gifts, although I was intuitive and those gifts really only came in, I'd say, when I had a second awakening in 2011, which was just all gorgeous. And I always felt, you know, looking at that awakening, where a lot of downloads came in, it was like my energy field was ready to receive that light and was ready to receive that energy. So there wasn't any negative stuff being kind of brought up massively. I knew I just loved it. It was amazing. And I just felt like I was really reconnected with my higher self. I reconnected with Lemuria, and you know, that has really been so life-changing for me, actually.
And did that second awakening, did something trigger that, or was it like it just happened?
It was going to a meditation group regularly every 2 weeks. And I always had been kind of doing mindfulness and in my work as a psychologist, helping people to learn mindfulness and self-compassion. So, you know, I'd been diligently kind of working with myself and with things that might come up and how to be with that. And I'd worked through like a fear of death, because I'd had to have some operations and things, and I kind of learned to sit mindfully with that fear that came up, and it helped. And that did open a door again to the past lives, weirdly. When I became like, even though I'd had that experience before, it was amongst such a jumble of so many things going on, I didn't really think, oh yeah, I definitely am an eternal being. I just thought, well, that was a lot of stuff, you know, more at the time. Whereas sitting with that fear helped me to, you know, be okay with not knowing, because you can't just know just by wanting to. And by being kind of at peace with that, suddenly all this, my part, it was so.
You're breaking up a little bit. I'm not sure if that's me. I missed some of that, and I'm not sure if that was my internet or yours. Let me see.
Oops, sorry. I'm on 2 bucks.
Yeah, you've frozen a little bit there, sweetheart.
Oh.
just try speaking again. I could hear you then.
So, okay, if I go back to what I was saying, the past lives, yeah. Okay, so so that was about, I started to kind of have a recollection of past lives. And then I suppose it was 2011 that I had this amazing remembering and reconnection with Lemuria.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
So tell me more about Lemuria. How was that for you? I instantly think crystal energy when I feel into Lemuria. There are places that I've tapped into Lemurian energy and Atlantis as well, but Lemuria for me, particularly when I was in Australia and New Zealand and Bali as well, they all felt very Lemurian energy. Was this in England that this experience happened for you?
Yes, yeah. I was at a friend's house and she was an amazing lady, and she had a pyramid in her spare room made of copper and with all these big crystals on.
Yeah.
And she said, have a go on my pyramid. So I did. And out of the blue, all of a sudden, in the meditation, I was underwater, and it was like a really all-encompassing feeling. And I could see this beautiful color, which is like my crystals here, kind of seafoam green. And there was like bits of pink, and it was just so gorgeous. And I was a bit like panicked because I thought, oh, what's happening? I'm underwater. And I heard this voice saying, it's okay, you can breathe. And then I could breathe under the water. And just the energies and the heart opening, I feel it was like connected with my higher heart opening more widely. And I think that had been a process of inner child healing as well.
Yeah.
And I really connected the higher heart opening, you know, over the previous few years before that as well, as I was coming out of a long process of inner child healing. And so that was so gorgeous. And I just felt really compelled to tell people about it, and these knowings that I had about that it was to do with Hawaii, and it was like things then came to me that to read and things like that totally resonated. And so I just kind of followed what was being shown to me. And
No, you carry
on. So I really love the channelings from Kiriel, which is Kahu Fred Sterling. And I think it was because I'll just grab the book and show you if I can find it. Because of this experience with the colour, when I saw this one on Amazon, I was like, whoa, I've got to get that one.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Because it was just the right colour.
And what's that one called?
That's called Kiriel, Lemurian Legacy for the Great Shift. And
How do you spell Kiriel? Is it
K-I-R-A-E-L?
Right, Kiriel.
Yeah. And Fred Sterling is still on Hawaii and doing amazing healing sessions and ceremonies, like services every week. Yeah, so that really resonated and just excited me so much, you know. And I felt this calling to just keep sharing about anything the energies, the colours, the artwork, and you know, that was coming through me at that time, and since coming into, you know, the deck that I made in the last kind of few years.
Yay! So this is the Lemurian Star Child Oracle deck. Do you want to pick a card from it?
Yeah. So I made this with my partner, Mikhail Kroon, and Mikhail really connected with or connects with Pleiadian energies, and also Lemurian as well. And he channels like words, whereas I tend to channel images and concepts and ideas. Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect combination for the cards. So the writing was his and the artwork yours. Yeah.
But when I met him, I'd already kind of worked out a structure for a Lemurian deck, and he had just finished a Pleiadian deck.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And we didn't I mean, that again is an amazing story of how we met and how that all happened. You know, was really kind of evidence of spirit operating, you know, in our lives, because I first saw Mikhail on Facebook. He sent me a friend request. He'd seen me in the south of France, I think. You know, some videos that I put on Facebook from the south of France. So I was going with my dear friends to help me heal a broken heart from my ex-husband, who'd kind of just suddenly decided that he didn't want to be married anymore, and that and stick kind of thing. So I didn't think much of it, but you know how sometimes you get a knowing, and as I saw his picture, I just thought, this person is significant. But I thought, well, that's ridiculous. He looks 20 years younger than me or something. So I didn't think any more of it. And then about a year later, I was in Glastonbury celebrating one of my dear friends' birthdays, and Mikhail, we were in the guest house here, a beautiful healing retreat centre, and Mikhail suddenly walked in. And I recognised him, and he recognised me, and so, you know, we all sort of spent some time together, toning and singing and having a wonderful time. And then through like that connection that was made, he had an exhibition of his artwork, his Pleiadian artwork, with my friend Carmen Bell White, who's an amazing person. And it was there where I was going to help Carmen. I was guided to. Took some time off work because I was still in the NHS then, to help her in that exhibition thing. And yeah, that's when Mikhail and I kind of really met properly and got to know each other. But yeah, and then an amazing load of synchronicities happened, and I bought a camper, and I'd been wanting to go on sabbatical since like my ex-husband had, you know, shocked me. And then the sabbatical finally, after about over a year, got okayed, and they said yes, you can go away for a year. And I just bought my camper, and Mikhail was free, and so we decided to go off traveling together after only really knowing each other a few months.
Wow.
And while we were there, he was finishing off like his channeling for his Pleiadian deck. I was like really getting going on my Lemurian deck, but we didn't really think much about it. And then all of a sudden, Spirit said to me a couple of months into traveling, look at your pictures, aren't they similar? Look at your concepts, aren't they similar? Why don't you put your picture, his picture on your picture, his light language picture, and I did, and it was just like we'd been working on a different plane of consciousness together, because it was incredible how they fitted over each other and blended. So the artwork is actually a blend of my artwork and his. Yeah. Okay. So I can show you more clearly in like one of the pictures. Maybe this one. So this is one of the pictures.
Wow.
It's from the abundance card. So his is like the lines, and mine is like the background colours and fade and flowers and all that. Yeah. So so it was quite magical how it all really unfolded. So I'll pick a card for us and for everybody.
And the Lemurian energy to me feels really heart, as you say, watery as well, but really heart.
Yeah.
And higher heart based. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got the Shine Your Light card, which is so perfect for these times. It's Kuan Yin, actually. And it's all about how do we deal with problems in the world? How can we help without getting kind of pulled into the density of it, which seems very apt.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's about, working on an energy level with bringing light and love into, the world and into difficult situations, whatever they are. Yeah, and it kind of certainly feels really pertinent for right now, where a lot of people are kind of feeling exasperated with the divisions that are going on in the light worker community as well, let alone the fears that might be coming up around what's happening in the world. So feels very, very relevant. I mean, one of the things that I just shared on my timeline, is about kind of the quantum perspective, and it really comes down to being in the moment and being okay with not knowing. And recognizing yourself as a creator. And so knowing how important it is where you focus, what frequency you dial your attention to, and what what you intend to manifest, and how important it is to be sovereign at these times.
And to maintain our energy in our heart space and keep shining our light. That's the
absolutely.
Still anchoring that light in, no matter what. It's like being in the eye of the storm, isn't it? Which I'm sure Robin is going to speak about later. It's maintaining that field and not giving ourselves a hard time if we slip out of it either, because it's like we're really being shaken at the moment. Like everything is just like shaking the stuff out. So it's okay to slip out of that space as well, but recognize it and come back to it.
Holding space and being the love for whatever's arising. So if that's like fear, anger, whatever it is in you, or in ourselves, it's being able to be love with that, hold space for that, so then it can start to move and shift, and potential start to appear, and divine inspiration and things. And I think it's really powerful energies hitting the planet now. It's really powerful times, and that's why this is all happening in the world, because anything that's there in the lower chakras that's blocking the flow of love, is being kind of highlighted or shown for healing. It's coming forward for healing, for understanding, and for really, it's driving people, I think, inwards. A bit like my experience, when I was 17, to find the light within themselves, because it's that light which helps people to rise above, and to understand, and to remain centered, like you say.
Yeah, beautiful. And yeah, that's such a perfect card. Thank you. So can people buy those on Amazon? Where do they get hold of the Lemurian Child Oracle?
Well, we've got a website, which is the lemurianstarchildoracle.com. And also they are on Amazon in the USA. We've just shipped 500 over to the USA, because it's getting very popular over there.
Nice.
Yeah. And we've been selling loads on our website. It is on Etsy as well, but because of the huge fees on Etsy, I'd rather people go to our website. Yeah.
And the pack came out just around equinox last year, which is when I met you. And I want to say your energy feels and looks actually really quite different from when we connected. There was a Zoom call. Was it Zoom? There was a few of you were together in Glastonbury, and I was up here. And then, and obviously you were still fairly close to your near-death experience when I met you in Glastonbury, but I can just, you look really beautiful, and you always did look really beautiful, but I can just feel that you must have shed a lot of stuff between now.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a lead in to the question about your near-death experience and what happened and how that's been for you in your journey since then.
Yeah. So that was a real shock. 1 minute I was eating some hummus and crisps, and the next minute I was like, whoa, what's happened to my head? This incredible pain just suddenly erupted in my head. And I was here alone because my car was out at a meeting about something to do with the town. And I thought, oh my God, what's happening? Just incredible pain in my head and stiffness in my neck, like I'd cricked both sides of my neck simultaneously. And my vision dimmed momentarily, and I just thought, something's going on. There's something I've never experienced before. I don't know what on earth it is. And I thought, I know, I'll check I'm not having a stroke. So I put my arms in the air, I poked my tongue out. I thought, now I can move my tongue, I can move my arms, I can smile. I'm smiling equally on both sides. I'm not having a stroke. What else did I do? I can't remember, but in the end, the pain was so bad in my head, I just thought, oh, I've just got to lie back and just calm down. And I did. And the pain reduced slightly from my head. And I thought, oh, phew, what the hell was that? Must have cricked my neck, must be going down with something. I don't feel very well. I was thinking all sorts of things, and I was just thinking, don't panic. I didn't think to phone an ambulance or anything like that. I was laying back on the settee, and then I tried to move, and I could not move my body at all. It was in agony. if I tried to move. And I just thought, that's weird. But of course I can move. I could move before. I can move. So I just made myself get up despite the pain. And it was really painful. My head was still hurting. And yeah, cut a long story short, the next day I phoned an ambulance, and then 3 o'clock the next morning, the ambulance came for the second time, because the first time they came and just sent me to the doctors. So yeah, 3 in the morning I ended up going to hospital, and they did a CAT scan, and then they kind of admitted me, but they weren't quite sure what was wrong, because it had been kind of about 30 hours, I think, since, or maybe longer, since it had happened. Yeah, while I was on the ward, and they'd phoned my card and said, oh, can you come and get Leanne? So he got a friend, because he doesn't drive. Between that time and him arriving, I had like a full-on ruptured aneurysm, and what had happened before was called like a sentinel bleed. And and this ruptured aneurysm just basically gave me an epileptic fit, and I went unconscious, and I was put in intensive care, and I don't remember anything after that, until, you know, a few bits of waking up, and then basically I was in hospital for about 3.5 weeks. It was really intense. And yeah, it has been quite an amazing experience for so many reasons. And thank God I'm like pretty good now. Still get hit by fatigue. I'm still quite forgetful. Have to make quite a lot of notes of what I'm supposed to be doing. But apart from that.
So the bleed that you had, and this is me going into my ex-nurse, my like nursing mode. So the first time, I can't quite get my head around that. So you had a little bleed first. So
Yes.
Or what? Yeah, okay. So you had a little bleed first, but the second time, so presumably there was like a minimal bleed from the aneurysm, but it hadn't fully ruptured.
Yeah.
And then the second time was a big bleed.
Yeah.
Which parts of the brain were affected?
Well, the scans they did then showed the blood over my whole brain and into my fourth ventricle.
Right.
And they gave it like a grade 4 on both scales. I can't remember, a Fisher scale, S or something like that. And the prognosis was 20% chance of survival. And they called in my family, and apparently I looked like death, because when they put you in ICU before you have the operation thing, they like really slow down all your vitals to stop more problems happening. They were really freaked out, bless them. And poor Mikhail was really traumatized by the whole thing. And yeah, the first thing I kind of was aware of, apart from waking up in ICU a couple of times and them telling me to keep my heart rate going up, because it was kept dipping down and the alarms would go off and then they'd kind of wake me up slightly. Because I had it coiled, which is this less invasive technique. So I'm lucky that it could be coiled. Yeah.
And amazing that you were there as well.
Yeah, when it happened. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it would have been a lot worse, if not fatal. Yeah.
So really, because not everyone has a little bleed first either, do they?
No.
A lot of people, the aneurysm just ruptures and will continue to bleed. But because you were there, you could have the procedure done and minimise the after effect. Yeah. And do you remember, like, presumably you were sedated at that time very quickly as well.
Yeah.
And you don't remember, like, you didn't have an experience of, you know, what people commonly associate with near-death experiences. Was it just kind of, you have no recollection really of that
No.
time?
Oh, I've got like total recollection
Okay.
of what was going on the astral and other planes.
Yeah. Did you leave your body? Were you looking down on yourself?
Yes. Yeah. It was so interesting. It was one of the most interesting. I think it was probably the most interesting thing that's ever happened to me, actually. I was, when I was, I don't know exactly where it was in that whole kind of first week or so, but I was definitely aware of going to visit my dad, who's clairaudient, and going and telling him that I was okay. I was just popping to say hello and tell him how brilliant it was not to be in my body for a while. But I would be going back to my body, so not to worry, I'm just here to say hello. And he was aware of me doing that. He said, I was in the kitchen and you suddenly appeared and said exactly what I said. He told me that. So I knew that. I remembered it. And I remember going to a friend of mine and putting my arm in hers and saying, oh my God, Caroline, it's amazing. I'm having such a wonderful time. I love not being in my body. I can go wherever I want, when I want. It's fantastic. Don't worry, I'm going back. I'm going to be fine. But just thought I'd come say hello and let you know that I'm okay. And
when you were on ITU? So
I think it might have been. I think it might have been just before I went to the HDU.
Yeah, okay.
The high dependency unit.
So presumably when you were on ITU, you were in and out of your body.
Yeah. So when you're in and out like that, time is different.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter where I was in my physical body, because these things were happening. And I'm not exactly sure where I was in the physical body's journey.
Yeah.
But the really weird thing is, because of mindfulness and just not being freaked out by weird things happening to me, I was just observing it all, and I was just watching myself. I was just watching like these strange things happening, like people coming up to me, saying something to me, doing something with all the things around me, and then coming up again and again and doing exactly the same thing over and over again. It was so weird. And I'd be like, this has just happened. Why is it just happening again right now? Exactly the same. And they'd be like, no, I'm only just come here and done this once. And things like that. But I was just like, okay, this is interesting. What's going on? What does it mean? What is this from a spiritual perspective? But I was just kind of chilled out with it. I was like, well, okay, that's interesting. And there was so much light language coming in through me. I must have just been a source of great amusement to the nurses coming in and out, because I'd be like there with my eyes closed, just singing light language.
Oh wow.
And they'd be like, are you okay? And I'm like, and I would be like having a whale of a time with this lovely light language coming in. And I felt the Dalai Lama come in, and I felt Kuan Yin come in, and I felt my guides coming in.
Let's just rewind there just a second.
in the ethers, not in actual physical form.
Did he speak to you, the Dalai Lama?
He was helping me when I got a bit scared at times. I remember, because what happened was when I went to the HDU, I think that's when I started to really connect with another level of the hospital, which was the lower astral.
You were clearing, weren't you?
Yeah, I was clearing. I was clearing like this big portal that was there. I could see it. I knew I was just getting like so much information about what this whole thing was, this energy work that I was doing. And yeah, it was really fascinating. It was like being in a film kind of thing, that I was really watching, I was observing, I wasn't making it happen, it was just happening, and I was just watching it, but I was also kind of in it at the same time. And yeah, I was involved in there was then quite a lot of deep clearing going on for that land and for the lower astral aspect of the hospital. And
was this in Bristol?
Yes.
Yeah.
Southmead. Yeah.
Okay. And Kuan Yin, how was the experience with Kuan Yin? What went on there?
Well, I really connect with Kuan Yin all the time anyway. She was just helping me to be at peace and just to be in my heart and to just be noticing it all. And yeah, just helping me to bring the light there, just helping me to stay in a higher frequency, and to just kind of have a kind of, yeah, just stepping out from it for a bit. And yeah, I was seeing so much stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was seeing lots of spirits that, you know, people that had passed over that didn't know that they passed over.
Yeah,
they were, you know, yeah, they were being kind of I don't know, the lower astral was kind of giving them a mirror of what needed to clear in a way, but it didn't feel benevolent particularly. It just felt like it was replaying their traumas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had to do a lot of clearing work around my space all the time. Luckily I was sent some really nice aura sprays and things that I was using, and invocations and commands, and to just keep the space clear. And I was just being shown a lot of stuff, really, other timelines, because it was all very quantum. You know, it was like potentials.
Yeah.
Based on past energies that were around. And helping people to realize their sovereignty, like other people, like in the bed next to me and stuff like that. I was being taken into their Akashic records and shown stuff, you know, relating to energy contracts and agreements and things that they really needed to let go of, that was really holding them back. Yeah, it was massive.
Yeah. I feel like we just on the tip of the iceberg as well for this. So obviously beings like Kuan Yin, and I think you said your guides as well. Was there a lot of elemental presence?
Yes, there was. Yeah, they were amazing. And I had, it sounds completely crazy, I know that, but it doesn't hurt anyone. If it's not true, it doesn't matter. But it really made me happy. And I had these little, they said they were like kind of fish. They were energetic. They said that they were going into my brain to clear up all the blood, and that they would come every day. They weren't normally allowed to speak to people, but as I seemed to know that they were there, they could speak to me. and they were like, they had like the personalities of a young lad of about 8, and then his older brother. That's what they were like. They had personalities. And the older brother would say, like, you're not supposed to be bothering her, just get on with it, and things like that. It was just so funny. And then I met with these like fairy leprechaun kind of beings. They were Irish, and they were helping me to find something to do with Lemuria, but I wasn't completely sure. I literally was given these 3 wood carvings, a wood carving prints of places. One of them was Glastonbury.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was what's it called? Iona in Scotland.
Yeah.
And the other one was Poole in Dorset.
Oh wow.
Strangely. and I was like taken to different times, like back into the 16th century in Poole, and I was looking for something that it was just so cosmic. I mean, my God, it was amazing. For 3 weeks nearly, or 2 weeks, I was just like journeying and having these like incredible experiences, and it really did. It just felt like it was, it was so exciting and interesting. and these leprechauns turned up, 3 guys, all with different personalities, all taking the mickey out of each other. I mean, I haven't got the sense of humor to make up the jokes that they were saying. I really don't. And I was just like so enjoying seeing them, and they were teasing each other, and they were and they said, come with us, we're going to go to Siberia because we're trading some horses. So I said, sure. So suddenly we were in Siberia, and there was these really ruddy faced guys, and they had like red hair, and they looked like berserkers and like Mohicans, and I was like, oh God, really? Are these safe people? And they were brilliant, and they were like funny, and they were joking, and they were real like bawdy, and they had a gold earring and tooth missing, and they were like real earthy, like dwarves, I suppose, in energy, as an elemental. And they had they were swapping horses and they were really into horses. And then there was and then we went to Russia, and that was really interesting. These beings were like elves, I guess. They were really slender, they had long hair, they were really fine featured, fine boned, and they were telling me all these stories, and they were really family oriented, and they were showing me their traditions with their families. I mean, you couldn't make it up, honestly. It was really amazing. And I don't know what it all means, but maybe I don't need to know. But it was just so interesting.
This is incredible, and I've no reason at all to disbelieve you. And if this happened to me in meditation, I'd know the truth of it. Mm-hmm. So it just feels the same. And often, the beings of light are not in 3D. They can't really fully anchor into 3D, which is why we as channels are really helpful, because we are fully anchored in 3D. And despite the fact that you were in and out of your body, you were still here as a physical body in 3D.
Yeah.
So that and for 3 weeks as well, like, wow. And it feels like you were doing this day and night, like for the whole of 3 weeks.
Yeah. I felt like I didn't sleep. I really felt like I wasn't sleeping because I was conscious, even though I might have my eyes closed. In fact, most of the time I kept my eyes closed because I had lost vision in one eye.
Yeah.
And I had very partial vision in the other eye, which would have normally like really freaked me out. But I guess partly because of what they were giving me.
And the fish.
Maybe. And fish. And also because something told me, you will get your vision back. Don't worry, you will. And I have. So yeah, so I might have looked asleep, but I was really conscious. And at one point, you know, at first, I literally felt like I had a white light in my whole body. And to try and sleep, when it's literally like your whole consciousness is white light. And I just, you know, I was like really knackered, which is why I think I'm still tired now. You know, and it was amazing. And the beautiful thing was, so I'd be kind of sharing what was happening to Mikhail, and because, you know, Mikhail is a really experienced meditator and also kind of clairvoyant and what have you, clairaudient. He could see, you know, what I was telling him, and he could pick it up as well. And you know, he didn't make me feel like I needed to be worried about the experience. You know, he just went with it, and just gave me, you know, all the comfort and help that I needed, which was so beautiful. And part of the real healing for me since I came home, you know, is how amazing he's been taking care of me. And for me, after certain experiences in my life, you know, to let that love in and not be able to give anything much in return because I've literally been so fatigued, you know, haven't been able to do so much, you know, that whole not being able to do stuff and not being able to be independent, you know, was absolutely terrifying to me. That was much more terrifying to me than all the visions I was seeing.
Yeah.
And that was part of my own personal healing, you know, to actually realize, obviously, you know, to realize that I can trust and I can feel worthy without having to earn it, kind of thing.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been kind of amazing. Yeah, and I remember coming back into my body as well. It was before it was planned to be. I knew that from my higher self when I came into my body. It was unfortunate, but a member of my family came and thought that I had completely lost the plot and said that they needed to stop my medication or whatever it was they were giving me, because it obviously wasn't suiting me, because I suppose I was telling them about the centaur that I'd seen on the corridor and things like that. And for some reason they listened, and the pain, oh my god, the pain that I was in my body, that was horrific. And it did bring me back into my body, and I literally hadn't got really out of bed to walk around before that, but the pain just made me need to get up and get away from it, kind of thing, or to try and ease it by moving. And I walked to a window and I saw all the elemental beings leaving in a kind of procession. They were like with lovely long skirts and they were waving at me. And I'm like, come back. Don't leave me here. And yeah, they did have to go. I could see them fading, disappearing, kind of thing. And yeah, that was kind of that, really. It still went on for a week, but much milder. I wasn't so kind of, you know, I was more in my body and kind of trying to ground the experience somewhat. And yeah, about a week later I went home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which eye was it that was affected, by the way?
It was my left eye.
And was the bleed more on one side of the brain than the other?
Yeah, it was the left pica, whatever that is again. I can't remember. Left parietal, I don't know.
Parietal lobe?
Yeah, I think it was more cerebellum.
Yeah.
I think it was the rear left of my brain, and the blood went into my eye jelly. It wasn't like brain damage that caused the loss of sight. It was blood in the jelly.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
And you know, considering all that had happened when we saw you in Glastonbury, you look really good. I mean, you were tired, but considering how close together, you know, the times were.
Because that was June the 21st. I didn't get out of hospital till I got out of hospital on June the 10th, I think it was, or no, 11th, I think. So it was only 10 days later. That was the first time I think I'd gone out of the flat. I basically just slept the whole time pretty much. I might have gone out because Michael's parents were here and were helping, but that might have been afterwards. I can't really remember the times. I just went with it and slept a lot. Yeah.
And it's two things. There was a big assault on your physical body, so you would have needed to have slept, you know, a lot to integrate all that and recover. But as you say, the amount of work that you were doing at that time is just incredible. I think, yeah, I feel you've only told us this much of all that you were doing at that time. It's it's really amazing. And now, go on.
I was gonna say it's kind of like it's like you've been given like a massive download, and you've got to try and somehow like fit it into what's already there. And it's only, you know, I'm getting kind of insights now and starting to feel a bit more able to kind of integrate it now. But for ages, I just thought, well, that was weird. And that was about as far as my understanding went, really. And the light language was continuing, you know, I would be waking up in the middle of the night, just kind of talking light language. And I love light language for just bringing you back into your body and into your heart, because it just means nothing to the you know, to the conscious mind, or it can't, the mind doesn't really have much to say in return, so you know, it bypasses it really and gets you into your body. And I just love it for that. And I love how it raises your vibration and it connects you with your light family and brings you into kind of a lighter space. Yeah, I love watching your videos and things.
Yeah, I love light language too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey for me in that, but enough about me. There's just way too much. There's way too much to ask you here. So have you documented a lot of what's happened? Because this feels like as a book, it would be really. Have you considered that, like writing a book of your experience?
Yeah, kind of. I've written a lot of it down. Just to help. Well, we wrote a lot of it down, and it was massive what we wrote down. Mikhail helped me kind of fairly early on, but even then it wasn't all of it, you know. I do feel eventually there will perhaps be some kind of book, I don't know, but it might just be that the kind of the insights and the artwork, I don't know, I'll just see what's guided. I'm really surrendered to the Holy Spirit, really, and I just see what I'm guided to do, really.
And has your vision, because obviously you were not just seeing it, you were in there when you were having these experiences, but has your vision and has your connection with the elementals, do you see them more again now?
I feel things. Yeah, I don't really see them so much. I just feel them. I feel connected more to the kind of pristine,
Yeah.
divine blueprint level of earth. Yeah, the earth kind of beyond the 3D, and so yeah, I kind of just feel stuff and then get downloads and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in my mind's eye, I think because I see things in my mind's eye more, like a couple of nights ago, or was it maybe even last night, I can't remember. I was just, because I feel like I was part of an energy that was going around the world. I kind of don't feel confined to the body.
Yeah.
Although I'm happy to be in the body and to be here, but like sometimes as you're dropping off to sleep or something, you just become aware of your consciousness somewhere else.
Yeah.
And doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that feels stronger, I think, for everybody at the moment as well. Like not just because of your experience, but I know for me, when I'm drifting into sleep, and when you're just in that space between, but it's like I hear the other world really quickly, and when I'm back here in the morning, that world is very close, and I can hear it really clearly. Like wherever I'm going to, it's not just the visual; it's the hearing of it as well.
Yeah.
That just seems it's a lot easier to dip and to go into that other space.
Yeah. It's really liberating, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'd love to hear about your name change. Do you know what it means? So it's I'll let you share what it is. So you're changing your surname.
I'm changing my surname, to Taiki Anawa. And that was a word that just kept coming into my mind over and over and over again, month after month after month. And when I say it, it just feels really beautiful in my high heart, and it feels like it takes me back to Lemuria. And it just feels more like me, and definitely feels time to get to let go of my ex-husband's surname, because I just hadn't changed it.
Yeah.
Mostly because I just thought it was such a blinking palaver of paperwork. And I didn't really I couldn't think of it. Well, I could have gone back to my earlier, my maiden name, but that didn't feel right either, because I feel like such a different person than I was when I was a child and young person. And I like to be kind of not confine myself. And this feels like me in freedom. Yeah.
Do you have a meaning for it?
Not really. No, I don't think I do. No. When I say it, I just see a blue sky, sea, and I feel like I'm swimming through water.
Wow.
Yeah.
It feels a really strong name, and there's a familiarity.
Yeah.
When I said it the first time, when I saw it, because I was practicing, because I thought, how easy is this going to be to say when I'm live, and it just flows really easily as well. It's it's really strong too. And I do want to share something. This flicked into my mind before when you mentioned Lemuria. So when I connected with my Lemurian aspect, my kind of multidimensional aspect, she was crystalline, like she was made of crystal. And that hadn't really occurred to me that it could be possible. But when I merged with her and when I saw her, she was in human form, but a crystalline version of human form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that feels lovely, because I feel in a crystalline form, you kind of can channel in your higher self, can't you? And just beam it out as an energy. Yeah.
I wondered if you wanted to share any light language.
Oh, I don't know. I don't do it very often. I do it just for myself. Like, and I do it often under my breath in the loo and things like that. You could start, and maybe I'd come in. I don't know. Yeah.
If you don't feel to, that's absolutely fine. Like, no pressure at all. But I just felt to ask. So, inihian ele eron ukokokoyatata. Kelly ian anakoy etan oya. Kolana eret ot oyan ipara hole ian eret on kolean ero on okoyatana a. Kola anakiamano ot oya. Komene easta et ea. Kolahia an imo onuko kokoya.
I feel like a song's coming through. Dia, dia no yo, dia ho, dia ho yo, dia no ho yo, dia no ho yo, dia no yo.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you.
I loved yours. Felt very elven.
And that felt very myrrh. Yours,
Yeah.
like it felt very, very watery, very and crystalline as well. And I don't know if this came through on the live, but there was a sound that came in as well, kind of overlaid at one point over what you were saying, and it just felt to me like some beings were just kind of like sneaking into the occasion as well and going, just, saying hello or whatever, just putting their frequencies in there too. Thank you. That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
What that was just amazing. And there's so much in there that you shared, and I really appreciate the work that you did, especially in the hospitals, but over the whole earth. But I, having been a nurse for 20 years, I know what the energy is like in the hospitals. So I really appreciate that you did that. And for just going on that blessed journey. And it's interesting that you've been on that blessed journey, and now you're changing your name on Facebook as well, from Blessed Journey to Taiki Anawa. It's like that bit's done. You've done that as well.
It's really interesting because that name was given to me by Spirit as well, Blessed Journeys, because at the time I was working in the NHS and I came onto Facebook. I didn't want people to necessarily be able to find me on Facebook. And that came from Spirit. And it does feel like I've been, I feel like I've drawn a circle around myself recently as well. Clearing out any energies that aren't mine from all timelines. And it feels like a kind of a unification. within myself, you know, and an honouring of my heart space, and of my ability to choose. Well, yeah, which kind of, I guess, fits with, you know, going beyond contracts and things.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for chatting with me today. This has been a really amazing conversation. I feel like there was something else that I was going to say. Oh, I did just want to acknowledge there was a question earlier from Michael on Facebook, and apologies we didn't get to that, but I knew we had a lot to I knew we were pretty bumper packed with all that we were going to talk about, so apologies we didn't get to that. And I wanted to thank you, Leanne, and thank everybody watching either now or on the replay or on YouTube. And just to quickly say, there is a Love Speaks Love Facebook page where all of the chats are. And there is a YouTube channel as well, which is Inner Peace with Denise. Have you got a YouTube? Just tell me your website again, and give me your details to share as well.
Yeah, so we've got a website which is www.lemurianstarchildoracle.com, and we've got a YouTube channel which is Lemurian Starchild Oracle, I think, and we've got a Facebook page which is Lemurian Starchild, and we've got an Instagram which is Lemurian Starchild Oracle.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I wondered if you'd be interested in doing some. Would you ever feel to go? This dropped. I only mention it because this dropped in the other day about doing some kind of a service call, and you don't have to give me any kind of answer now, but it's I'm being nudged to mention it. Some kind of service call to work with the energies in the hospitals and to
yeah, definitely. Because yeah, no, if people, you know, with the COVID and everything, are experiencing these kind of things, you know, whilst they're in hospital, you know, we know that, like, I don't know if it's 70 or 80% of people that are in ICU and intubated experience like PTSD.
Yeah.
And have all sorts of what they call delirium, but what we know as perhaps, you know, like a awareness of the lower astral. And yeah, I've definitely been called to bring healing to people in hospitals.
Yeah.
In the ICU especially.
Yeah.
I read about a guy in New York who ran out of the hospital and died, sadly, because he said he could see zombies and vampires, I think it was.
Wow.
And I'm not joking, there are, you know, on the lower astral, there are beings that will try and feed off people. And
my feeling is that what gets reflected is often our fears as well. So in the astral layer, it's full of that fear energy. So when we tap into that, we can see the things that we're scared of as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We'll talk about this.
Yeah, that's great, because I've also been called to do that. So
yeah, brilliant. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop the live. I'm back again in just under an hour with Robin Cabral. So same place, different time at 6:30. So
cool. I'm
thank
looking
you,
forward
Leanne.
to watching that as well.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting as well.
Yeah.
And thank you everybody who's watched. Thank you for all your support and your love and any contributions that come in via PayPal. Thank you. Much love and blessings and gratitude. I will see you later.